Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechakudash. Double honor to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us the truth. A sincere Shalom to the hopeful, like listening, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom. All right, so I'm just going to play this video and we'll get right into it. This is fair use for educational purposes only.
It was literally built upon. Considered anti-Semitic within the United States will now cost you real-life consequences, including up to jail time.
Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO. We pressured CEOs, some resigned, many were terminated, but policies were changed, thankfully, from governmental to our institutions. We traced patterns, elevated evidence, and worked with authorities, leading to arrests from Florida, South Carolina, New York, California, and Texas. And we're not slowing down, sadly.
This is brought to you by Stop Anti-Semitism, a Jewish watchdog organization where the CEO has repeatedly stated that this will have real-life consequences now for your perceived anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences.
They even have lists of people displayed all over their website showing the anti-Semites of the week. Creating an external, non-elected governing body within the United States that flies the flag of a foreign country that imposes its laws and consequences for laws it makes on our citizens of a different country because of words that they don't like or being criticized, which is an American freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to criticize things you don't agree with, is directly undermining the foundational constitution that our country was literally built upon. Considered anti-Semitic within the United States will now cost you real-life consequences, including a...
Hey, so that's it. Y'all see it? So, yeah, basically, and this was not too long ago, maybe a few days. But basically, man, yeah, they are criminalizing, telling the truth, speaking out against these devils, man. All right. And, it's no secret that, Israel has America in their back pocket, these imposters over there. OK, because who are the real Israelites? The real Israelites today, according to biblical prophecy, are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Right. The scriptures said that the real chosen people would be scattered throughout the earth in slavery, being oppressed. Okay, and these people are anything but oppressed. These people have a hell of a lot of power. And you know what? I believe, no, I didn't show it there, but the top comment basically says, for being an oppressed people, they have a lot of power, And you can even see this, like, I got this quick picture up in the back of the dollar bill. All right, you got these stars, and if you trace it out, all right, it's basically the Israeli flag, And there's many other examples, man. You could look at the Chat GPT logo. If you invert it and then you put it together with one that's not inverted, all right, what do you get? You get the same symbol, the Israeli flag symbol, okay? Showing you, how these devils operate, okay? Using their subliminals, they're letting you know what they're doing without letting you know, if that makes sense, man. All right, but, back to the point, man, these devils, they're doing so much. And I was just scrolling earlier on Instagram, man, and I saw other videos too. Like, there was this one video showing how they were trying to break into a Palestinian prison or whatever to grape the women and probably the men as well, because you know how Esau rolls, man. So the whole world is finding out what these people are about, man. Okay, and they're being exposed. Okay, this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. That's right, man. So the Lord is exposing these devils, man, all over the internet. You see videos on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You got our videos. The prophets are out here day in and day out exposing the wicked works of the devil. Okay, these Edomites, which that's what these Israelis are, right? They're the tribe of Amalek, which is the head tribe of the nation of Esau. The only nation in the scriptures that the Lord will not have mercy on. Okay, and good, because you see how they are, man. Okay, they're over here, they've been kicked out of hundreds of countries, yet they're the victim. When they go to these countries, they grape the women there, they steal resources, they push degeneracy, they push false philosophy on the TV and to the people to fuck people's heads up. Right? Who owns Corn Hub? Right? A goddamn so-called rabbi from the nation of Israel, which are, again, like I have to keep iterating, they're not the real Israelites, man. They're just imposters. They're acting. Okay? They stole our land from us. They stole our heritage, just like they steal resources, man. Right? Just like the so-called white people over here in America steal resources. Why? Because they're the same people. You get an Israeli, man, and take his fucking top hat off, his witch hat, right? Take off his witch hat, take off his fucking black clothes, and stand him side by side with a regular run-of-the-mill Edomite from America, and you won't be able to tell the difference. Right? It's the same fucking people. All right. Now they're a little bit higher up in the hierarchy because they are the head tribe. That's the nation of Amalek. All right. But yeah, man, these people are gonna be destroyed, man. Ultimately, that's their lot. Though right now they're at the top. Okay, they have all the power. All right. This is Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked upon Amalek, right, that's these imposters. He took up his parable and said Amalek was the first of the nations, right? They have all the power, okay? You know how America rules the earth, okay? It's really Israel ruling because they're the ones giving orders to America, okay? And then these European vassal states, also known as the European Union, all right? They're the ones taking the ass end of every deal from America. So you can see there's a hierarchy among these Edomites. Okay, and Amalek was the first of the nations. They make up what, 1 to 3% of the population, but they are your CEOs. They're your chief executive officers, right? In all these big companies, right? They're also the ones who are in control of the media. Look up who rules the media, who's in the positions of management, right? In the high positions of power in the media. There's a chart you can find on the internet, man. Damn near everybody who works for the media is a small hat. You see? And there's countless examples, man. Who rules Hollywood? Who do these rappers that get all their riches, who do they have to answer to? It's always an Amalekite, man. You follow the money all the way up to the top. It's always a you-ish person. You see? And now you're not allowed to talk about him, man. There's a saying in the world. You want to see who's in power? Find out who you can't talk about. Roughly paraphrasing. And it's true, man. You can't talk about these damn devils because they're the ones who rule. They're the ones who are the first of the nations. But it continues, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Right? Because they were created to be destroyed. They were created by Yahweh Bashim Shai to be a perfect example of evil on the earth. This is what happens when you have a people who rule the earth who stand completely against the scriptures, okay? You take the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible and you turn them upside down, and that's what these Amalekites do. All right, so how can these be the people of the Lord? They circumcise their children with their mouths. They push degeneracy worldwide, transgenderism, all that stuff. They're the ones pushing it, man. They're the ones going against the book. So how can they be the Israelites? Okay? The scriptures always talk about how Israel is the only nation that the Lord has respect upon, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, that doesn't fit these people, man. It doesn't fit them. Okay, and the scriptures also say that when the Lord brings his people back to their land, there will be peace on earth. There will be no wars. But what do you have with these people? Constant wars, man. All right, and it's no strange thing that they have stolen the land. Okay, the scriptures said that would happen. Scripture said that the Gentiles would trod in the land of the Lord. Okay, the scriptures also tell you that the real Israelites will be scattered until Yahweh Shai returns. Okay, so if you understand the Bible, you understand that these people, these people over there in that in that land, these people are the wicked. These are the Edomites. These are not the people of the Lord in any way, shape, or form. They are simply acting and cosplaying as if they are the people. That's it. And the simple will pass on and be punished, man. The simple-minded who believe these are the people. You know, like a lot of you so-called plantation Christians, you believe these are the people, right? You sending money over there, right? Let's see what Psalm says. Yes, Psalms 94 and 20. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? And that's what they're doing here, man. Like this disgusting, crusty ass old bitch, old dusty ass, demonic looking vampire bitch, talking about, oh, well, there's no consequences. Well, now there's consequences. Let's play that shit again.
Up to jail time.
Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences.
So
a
we
lot
created
of them.
consequences. A lot of them. Well, you see, well, the Lord's gonna fucking destroy you. You old cosplaying demon, you see? And they have the nerve to put the menorah on their podium here. You see, this woman has nothing to do with Israel, man. The scripture says that the real Israelites are dark skinned with woolly hair. Okay, so clearly all she did was steal our culture. All they did was steal our culture, and now they're enforcing into law what? Mischief, right? What is that mischief? Hiding the truth, man, because they are being exposed on a high level, man, which frameth mischief by law. Okay, who's the main ones to do that, man? That's these Edomites, especially Amalek, man, especially Amalek. All right, nothing but witches and warlocks in that place, man. This is why the Lord is going to not only destroy America with thermonuclear destruction, he's also going to have these nuclear missiles burn up the land of Israel in order to what? To incinerate all these demons over there, man. That way the land can be cleansed. These devils sacrifice swine. Okay, that's a big no in the scriptures, man. You is not supposed to be sacrificing swine. You're not supposed to be doing all this. Salaki, there was a fly in my face. You're not supposed to be pushing transgenderism. You're not supposed to be, doing all the things that they doing, for lack of a better word. I can't come up with anything else on the top of my head, man. But, if you just sit down and do your research, man, you could write a whole book about what these people were doing. All right? But, real quick, we're just going to go ahead and continue on. This is Revelation 13 and 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. And how does the image of the beast speak? Through this false philosophy. Okay, we bring it out all the time. And this is talking about Esau through America. Okay, because America is the spearhead of this beast. You got NATO and the EU. That comprises the power structure of the beast. Right? Who rules that power structure is the Edomites. And what do they push worldwide? Degeneracy, transgenderism, feminism, okay? Democracy, this bipartisan bullshit here we got in America, all right? Capitalism and other isms, man. Socialism, capitalism, these are systems that don't work. These are philosophies that are unprofitable to life, okay? And amongst other things. But one of these things also, this part of the system is you can't talk about the Ish people. Okay, and now they're making it so that if you talk about the Ish people, they're going to put your face on the internet, call you an anti-Sem. They're going to cause you to lose your job. They're going to cause you to have your reputation destroyed so that you get kicked out of society. Okay, this is the system we're coming into. And we bring this out a lot when we talk about the MOTB, which is the chip, the RFID chip that goes in the right hand, and Neuralink goes in the brain. You got Synchron. You got a lot of companies doing it now. Basically just a chip that goes in the brain or in the right hand, and it's going to be mandatory for buying and selling. Okay, but they're basically creating a system where you have to adhere to the false philosophy and belief system of America, just like the ancient Roman Empire had their ways. Okay, everybody was a bunch of moles, a bunch of weirdos, and if you spoke out against it, you would get kicked out. This would be the same thing with America, man. Even from what I remember, Even the philosophers like the Stoics were removed from Rome. Okay, and they're not saying anything about the well, I don't know what they were saying, but I do know that they were talking about certain philosophies that are to build you up. Like don't focus on what you can control, focus on what you can. Salakia. Don't focus on what you cannot control, focus on what you can control, right? Being hard, strong minded, right? Not being obsessed with materialism, right? That's another philosophy America pushes, that you get enjoyment out of how much shit you buy and how much shiny objects you have. You got a new car, you got new shoes, I work with some people, they're shoe heads. They collect a bunch of shoes and they got a whole closet full of shoes, man. Okay, yeah, America would love for everybody to be like that because you're part of the system. You're a consumer, all right? But if you live like a stoic, and all you got is two pairs of shoes and a few t-shirts and a few pants, and your life is centered around Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, and really just becoming a better man, not necessarily being a better consumer. They hate that shit. Okay, so just like the ancient Roman Empire didn't want people to steer too far away from their way of life, America's doing that on a much higher level, man. And speaking out against the Ish people is a big no in this system. And they're creating the system now that's going to cause you to be killed, man. That's that social credit score system. That's those digital IDs. That's the universal basic income. They're setting you up to rely on them for everything, but also they're setting it up the system to have a high level of surveillance. And ultimately, when the chip is forced on a lot of people and people get the chip underneath the skin, the surveillance is inside your body now. Now you can't hide anything you say or do. All right? And if you dare to speak against the Ish people, you're gonna literally, that's a death sentence, man. So it's gonna be a system of total control. And this is the beginning of it, man. Them putting videos out like this as they do other things, like I've been mentioning, digital IDs. Look at what's going on in Marshall Islands. Okay, what are they doing there? They are rolling out universal basic income already. Okay, so for the people that rely on that, best believe if they start talking too much, they're going to have to get a job now. Or worse, they're just going to starve out. Okay, well, a lot of people say, well, I'll just be homeless. No, you won't be homeless, because now look at what's going on in Utah, which is just a test for what they want to do everywhere. They have homeless prison camps. So now if you choose homelessness, they're going to round you up and put you in a hardcore slavery in a prison cell where you're going to be forced to work long hours and you're not going to see any of that money, man. And they're saying, oh, that's to rehabilitate crazy people who are homeless. Because you don't want to have 5 jobs and stay quiet about the truth, because you don't want to be a fucking a shoehead and go and buy a bunch of bullshit and be a typical American, because you want it to be different. You're gonna be put to death, man. And who does this apply to first and foremost, man? The prophets, okay? The prophets who are bringing out this truth, because that's ultimately who they want to target, man. What did they say? Some lady spokesperson for Israelis was saying, I don't know if it was a lady or a man, but the point is, the biggest problem in Israel today is the black man in America. That's what they said. Let's type it up. Let's look it up. Yeah, I can't find it, but it was a quote. I can't fucking find it, damn it. Oh well. You could probably find it on YouTube. Just type it in. Might have to dig a little bit, but it's there. Somebody for those Ish people was saying that the black man is a problem. Why? Because the tents of Judah shall rise first. In this truth, you got a lot of so-called black men in this truth. Of course, now you have the so-called Latinos and Native Americans coming in. Okay, but the head tribe is Judah. And basically, they know that those are the real Jews. Okay, because ultimately the word Jew goes back to Judah. Okay, so who are the real Judites? They're not these Ish people, man. They are the so-called black man here in America. So the problem for these imposters are the real Jews. That's what they're saying. And also, really, the real reason they're saying that is because we speaking out against these devils. You know, our Judite brothers are speaking out and telling the truth, bringing out scriptures. Like the scripture said would happen, man. Okay, let's see. I believe it's Second Thessalonians 2:8. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed." Right? Who's the wicked? Pursuant to Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. It's the Edomites, which is the so-called white man today. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." And the Lord's mouthpiece are the prophets. And so we are bringing out these truths, exposing the Edomites and showing them to be the wicked on the earth, especially the Amalekites, right? The top tribe of the nation of Esau, which are who? These small hats, these imposters who say, who wear these black hats, and they live over there in our land, Israel. Okay, they're being exposed on a high level by us bringing out the truth. We're telling you they're not the real Israelites, man. They're simply imposters. They're using that as a fall to almost like a cover up for their wickedness. Oh, look, we're the people of the Bible, because everybody believes the Bible is good to a large extent. All right, even though they don't fully adhere or agree to it, everyone can have a neutral opinion and say, yeah, the Bible is mostly good. All right, so why would you come against these people who say they are the people of the Bible? You see, and we're bringing out those reasons, man, because these people are literally the problem. They are a cancer on the earth. Okay, it says, "And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming," right? Because Yahushua is coming, man, and he's gonna take these devils out of power, right? And he's gonna place the real Israelites back in the land, and we're gonna rule all nations with a rod of iron. Okay, the same way, well, not the same way they're doing it. They're doing it in wickedness. They're ruling the earth now in wickedness. We're gonna rule in righteousness, man. Okay, and they're gonna be the bottom of all the nations. They're the first of the nations now, but we're going to put them in hardcore bondage. They're going to be doing the shittiest jobs in the kingdom, and we're going to wear them out, man. And then after 1,000 years, they're going to be rounded up and eliminated off the earth. Them and all the rest of the Edomites, not just the Amalek, all Edomites, man. They're going to be done away with because they're a problem, man. You can't trust these people. You can't have peace on the earth. The brother Yatazak, he sent me a video earlier on Instagram, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick, Lord's will. Basically showing how wasteful this artificial intelligence technology is, man. And Esau thinks he's gonna solve problems with it, but he's just created a whole nother problem, man. So I'm pulling up that video now to see what it says. And let's see here, Salakia, because I try to pull it up and some other bullshit pops up. Hang on. Salakia. Yeah, here it says, "This year, AI used as much water as the entire bottled water industry and produced carbon pollution on par with New York City." You see, and they have this Genesis project where they want to really utilize and fund AI even more, okay? And they think it's going to solve all their problems, okay? But it's a two-edged sword, just like the internet, because at the same time, it's exposing us. We've been using it to expose these devils, all right? Because it'll tell the truth. And so what are they doing? Like myself and the brother Yatazak had made that video a little while ago, how these small hats are funding millions of dollars to these companies to do what? To retrain AI, to make all the responses about Israel to be friendly responses, right? Saying nothing bad about them, acting like they're good. It has to reframe the answer. So if you say, okay, let's, for example, have the Ish people done more violence than any other race or something like that. Just an example, right? You type it in and you get a response, yes, right? Well, they're retraining it now to water it down. It'll probably say something like, all people have created violence, or some dumb shit like that, you see? Just like these Edomites, when you tell them about slavery and how they did slavery, they're like, "Oh, well, everybody did it, and it was a long time ago, right?" But let Jake commit a crime. They'll dig up that crime 50 years later and put Jake in prison or give him a death penalty, right? Or they'll put a Jake in jail falsely accused and exonerate him, and they'll only give him like $1 million. He'd been sitting in there for 50 years. You see? So these devils are hypocrites, man. These people are worthless, and ultimately they're not going to have any piece of the kingdom, man. They're just going to be slaves to serve their punishment and then be eliminated like they ought to be, because they don't belong on this earth, man. They're a poison, and look how they're doing now. They're causing people to get murdered. They're causing people to get deleted for telling the truth. How is that conducive to life? How is that good for anybody? You see? But with that said, man, I want to bring out a few precepts, brothers, just to let y'all know we got to be circumspect. We got to be wise. Speak in code. Do not use the J word. Okay? If you're talking about these devils, call them the Ish people. Call them, whatever. Make up code, your own code words. The small hats. All right, this is Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right? Don't do nobody no wrong, but be wise. You don't have to. If you sense somebody's trying to trap you in speech, like a lot of scoffers do, hey, you don't have to answer to them, man. Or just give them the answer that is required. Don't have to go into detail. And you could tell, man. You could tell if somebody's being a demon. Okay, if somebody's being sincere, okay, you could work with them, man. But just be careful what you say and how you say it, especially shit this Salakia, especially stuff this going on the internet. Verse 17, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. That's basically just talking about being careful with your words. Just being wise. Don't be stupid. Don't be extra. Just preach the scriptures. Just do what the Lord commanded you to do. You don't have to do too much and get yourself in trouble, right? All right. Now that's not to say to water down the scriptures. Definitely tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth according to the scriptures. Okay? But just break down the scriptures, man. That's it. 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, right? And that's what you ought to envision these Edomites as, man. They are roaring lions. They're out here looking to devour you. Okay, so, just be wise. That's all. It's just another precept to remind you, be wise, man. You're not dealing with honest people. You're not dealing with good people. You're dealing with people who are willing to make up lies to deceive the whole entire world just to get a few dollars more in their pocket. And in the process, they don't care how many people they have to put to death, how many families they have to destroy, how much they pollute the earth. They don't care. They're like a big ass kid. It's like putting a big kid in office and watch everybody become miserable and terrified. That's what these people are. They are the ultimate T-error and ists. If you put those together, you know what that means. You got to be careful with your words, man. But that's what they are, man. They are a terror on the earth, man. All right? This is Sirach 20:18. To slip upon a pavement is better than to slip with the tongue, right? Don't be using those specific words, man. Use speaking code, all right? It says, so the fall of the wicked shall come speedily, right? Just like when you slip and fall on the ground, that's how fast these devils are coming out of power, man. The Lord's going to put them down, all right? The Lord is coming very soon. The scriptures say that the Lord will come like a thief in the night. So it's not going to be anticipated by most people, man. Yeah, we see the system being set up right in front of us. But like I said in my last video, they may use the 2020 playbook and shit will speed up so quick. Hey, we could be out of here within months, man. You never know, bro. You know, because one good crisis, one good emergency, and that chip is being mandated. Straight up, it is being mandated, right? And it's going to be mandated regardless, okay? But imagine a crisis like 2020. Once that chip is out of the way, bro, hey, there's no prophecy stopping the return of our Lord, Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai is coming to do what? To make war with Esau, man. You know? Destroy this place with his chariots, shooting laser beams, ultimately the thermonuclear destruction of America, and then the bringing of our people back to their own land to do what? To put all heathen into slavery for 1,000 long, hard, drawn-out years, man. Okay, that's how these devils are going to fall, man. They digging a pit for us, but they're the ones who are going to fall in it. And we just got to keep doing what we're supposed to be doing, bringing out this truth, fearing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, because although they're putting out these laws to do this, we're not going to stop preaching. We're not going to stop bringing out the truth until, the famine of the word, which is ultimately, when the Lord decides that's it, that the Israelite ministry is complete. And when the Israelite ministry is complete, all right, that's it. There's no more chance for repentance for people out there, for Israelites who were scoffing, talking shit, bullshitting. Now they're going to seek the Lord, but they won't be able to find him. You see? So I'm going to grab that precept real quick. That's going to be Amos 8, verse 11. Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord, right? When these devils really start coming down with wrath more and more to the point where, they may shut off the internet. They may, anybody that makes a video like the one I'm making, they may end up in prison. They may end up even beheaded, man. Verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea and from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro and seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it, right? They're going to be driving up and down the streets. Like, where those prophets at, man? Where the guys that used to stand on the side of the street telling us all this stuff would happen? Where they at, man? I need them now, man. Where they at, man? Where they at? Where y'all at? Y'all gonna be looking, man, but it's gonna be too late. That's why we tell you, get the word while you can, man, because these devils are bringing in draconian measure. That's a draconian ass measure, man. For you to just tell the truth, and now you can't find a job. It's already hard out here finding a job. You can have the best fucking resume, but if you're an Israelite, it's hard to find a fucking job out here. Even Edomites are having trouble, man. You see, this place is finished. Okay, and now is not the time, to be foolish. So, of course, keep doing what the Lord commanded us. Just be wise with what you say and how you say it. And you see, I never mentioned the J word, man. You see, but you guys know exactly who I'm talking about, right? And basically just now sometimes it will be said, but it just depends on the context. Try to throw off the algorithm too, because there's an algorithm. People, these demons may watch our videos from time to time, but the heavy lifting is done by the algorithm, the AI that's listening to our videos and telling them, okay, this video is anti-sim, whatever. Which at the end of the day, they know who we are, and ultimately that persecution will come regardless. But you don't want to put yourself out there foolishly. All right, do it with like the scriptures talk about. Let your words be seasoned with salt. Okay. But yeah, man, that's it. That's all I wanted to bring out. Just a quick update. These devils are putting out these draconian measures, being witches, warlocks, and demons, and they're basically condemning the innocent, for speaking out, and they're condemning their own people too, because you got Edomites speaking out against them, and the funny thing is a lot of these Edomites don't know that those are their own people. They think it's a whole nother race because they call themselves the Ish people. No, that's your people. Okay. And you're all going into slavery together, man. All right. But the point being, yep, they're bringing out these draconian measures. So stay circumspect, Yasharallah. Be wise out there, and keeping the faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai first and foremost. Continuing to push this word out until the end, man. Because hey, the Israelite ministry is almost completed, and the Lord is getting ready to shut this place down, man. America is finished. So with that, I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom wa abad babal. Shalom.